And we're on Follow-tonians, episode 189. Eric here in Overland Park, Kansas. Ped in Old Swan, Liverpool. We've got a lot to talk about, Ped, mostly because we just played like a really long game.
I thought we had actually less to talk about this week, to be honest. I
Oh
was
yeah.
hoping for a shorter show, to be honest.
Well, we can do a very short show, I'm sure, or we can do kick by kick breakdown of a penalties that we lose 8-9.
Our when we do when we're talking about the games before the show, our notes are quite short, so if maybe we can keep them as short as that. It's only just crap, blah 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 blah. Did something, defensive mistake, done something. Crap.
Penalties,
Yeah,
crossbar.
that's basically been our season in notes. That's a behind the scenes. That's a little glimpse behind the scenes of the Follow-tonians.
Right, yeah. So crap for 60 minutes. Oh, that's just our show. Crap for 60 minutes.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Right. Lineup for the match against West Ham looked okay.
Yes, I mean strong. I would say it was strong.
Still, everybody wondering why Morales not starting.
Well, he'd mentioned that he still had some kind of pain in the injury, so maybe that's what it was. And I think he'd mentioned that to the press
Right.
in Belgium. But to be honest, recent games he hasn't been exactly, like the week before in the game against West Ham
In the first time, yeah.
in the first tie, he was pretty poor when he came on. So yeah, I don't know, McGeady. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something positive to say, and I can't think of anything.
One thing that we can say
Keeps
that
a
was
balance.
positive about McGeady is that whenever he got the second yellow card, it did us a favor.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh, if you want to look at it like that, I suppose it did.
I think it's pretty obvious that we were better down to 10 without him than we were even strength with him.
Yeah,
For this match, I'm not saying overall grand picture scheme of Aiden McGeady in an Everton shirt, even though he has been frustrating more than he has been up to par. It's
yeah. I
just
mean,
what it is, and as far as the scope of this match.
yeah. I wouldn't put the whole game on his shoulders. I really wouldn't. I thought he wasn't brilliant. He was jumping in for a lot of tackles, and you just thought, what are you doing? He was doing it all game, and there was no real surprise when he got the second yellow, even though the second yellow did seem to follow the first yellow quite quickly, which was strange again because you look at accumulation of um, of fouls. And he'd had about 3 or 4 fouls, I think, for the first yellow, and then I think it was basically his next foul was a red, which that's a really strange way of totting up, decisions. And when you're seeing there was a lot of other decisions on the night that weren't given his yellow cards for more than he did for that second one. It's a very strange thing once you've got a first yellow card. I mean, I know you're walking a tightrope, but surely you should be given a little bit of leeway as well. You should be able to still make other fouls. I mean, unless it's a clear yellow card, which I didn't really think the one he was booked for. But it was silly. It was silly for what he did. It's naivety that, and he's not a youngster. He's 28, 29. He's not a young player. He's been round. He should know what you can do and what you can't do. Maybe Roberto Martinez should have seen it coming, and maybe have already brought him off by that stage, because it was waiting to happen. Everyone could see it was waiting to happen. But I mean, before that, I mean, I thought we'd started quite well in the game, but we did what we normally do. We start well and then get bored of doing
Right.
what we're doing, or we get like far too comfortable doing what we're doing without actually creating any chances. And again, it's a story of the season pretty much. Even if we do score, it's like we just get bored doing what we're doing, and then start giving the ball away. And it's something we've said all season. It's almost like the other team go, do you know what? These are actually not going anywhere. We can start to take chances against these.
Sure.
Started to make little silly mistakes like the one John Stones made, which forced Joe Robles to make the first of many, many fine saves on the night.
Yeah.
As I say, up to that point, it'd been very, very mixed. We started well, and then West Ham sort of turned us round, started getting the better of us, playing a lot of long balls, and then they get the goal, they get the breakthrough, which I thought was again really poor goal. We completely switched off from a free kick. Too many players not watching what's going on.
It just came out at halftime, and we were very, very flat, very flat-footed. Just there was no energy in the squad coming out from the break, and we got punished.
Yeah, you see this a lot with Everton players. It doesn't have to be at any particular time of the game. They just don't seem switched on for set pieces, for anything really. They're too busy, sort of. I don't know. Sometimes they just don't get. When you're a kid and you're playing, or your first thing, there's a couple of things you're taught to do. Someone gets a free kick, or someone gets a goal kick, or any kind of set pieces. Get back into your position, and then then worry about what's happening. And the other thing is, if someone wants to take a quick free kick, someone stands on the ball, gets in front of it, doesn't allow it to happen, gets in front of it and makes sure that everyone else can settle behind them. We don't do a lot of those basic things. I mean, those things are maybe, I don't know, maybe when you get to the professional game, you forget about those little things, but you shouldn't, because they're the things in football that make it easier for your teammates. It happened last year at Spurs when Spurs beat us 1-0, and we allowed a free kick, and none of the players behind were ready for it. They weren't concentrating.
Right.
It happened 3 or 4 times just during this one game where players just weren't ready for the situation because they just weren't switched on mentally, and that's definitely something we need to get a grip of. Because that's leadership. That's the leaders in the team telling the other players switch on, concentrate. The younger players be ready. They might try a quick one.
Yeah, a captain or senior leadership or a manager or someone should be able to sense whenever the momentum or just the alertness, something you should be able to just kind of sense. And I know everybody in the stands can, everybody at home watching can sense it. Why are we not getting that? Hey, snap out of it, wake up. Let's focus here and get our heads into the game.
I don't know. It's a strange one. You see a lot of things in professional football that you watch at an amateur level, and they're taken. I mean, you take them for as a given that these things have to happen, because it's a doggy game, and you've got to make sure you're switched on for things, and we just don't look switched on. Our goals are a clear indication of that.
But these things that we're taking for granted, these things that in a learning level of amateur football that are not just part of the game, but they're required if you are going to excel and get push forward to the next level. You have to do this, and it's things that clubs like Southampton and things that clubs like West Ham this year are doing, and they're reaping the rewards for it.
Yeah, it's basics. It's you get the basics right in football, and you're organised, and you're set up in a certain way. You will do well. You will do well at the level you're at, and you only have to. The quality of the Premier League, let's not be fooled. The quality in the Premier League is not fantastic. It's gone worse this year. People think it's gone better because the team, it's not. It's you've got the more Southamptons and more West Hams. But
right.
I've watched Southampton play. I've watched West Ham play, and they don't do anything fantastic. They don't do anything mind-boggling. They've just got organisation. They've set themselves up and they are organised, and that's the only. That's one of the things that they do, and they have a few key players that make them better than other teams. But they're organised. They're switched on. It's why when obviously we're playing West Brom this week, and you've got a manager like Tony Pulis. It's why when someone like Tony Pulis is so good at keeping teams up, because what he does is he comes in and he says, right, we're gonna work on this one thing, and we're not leaving here the training ground till it's perfect. But this is the thing that is going to stop teams scoring past us. Now that might sound like a really stupid thing, but if you get something like that perfected, or one little trick like how to score off a corner, if you know how to do a corner and you're going to score like half the times you do it, you're giving yourself a chance. Or set pieces. This is not a new thing. This has been going on for years. Managers just drill their players continually on a few key things, and that's just pure organisation. But that will keep you in the Premier League, and will now seems to be able to get you to a top half finish as well. So there are times when you have to go back to that. You can have all the things Roberto Martinez wants to instill, but you have to do that as well. And I thought there was times in this game, and there's certainly been times all season, where those things, we just don't have enough of those things in abundance. So certainly, as I say, for that goal, we just completely switched off, and they had other opportunities. And the fact that they scored and then McGeady sent off 3 or 4 minutes later, it just compounded that frustration of just not getting things right. I mean, if you concede a goal, the first thing you've got to do is regroup and say, right, let's get ourselves sorted, give ourselves 5 or 10 minutes to get sorted, and then let's fight our way back. What you don't want is people 5 minutes later throwing silly tackles on a yellow card, which is just going to make the problem even worse.
Yeah, definitely. But then 2 subs were made, Morales and Oviedo, and it looked as though we had a glimmer of hope with the restart. Morales, it was a great goal. But it could have been placed better, and I thought the keeper could have done better.
Oh, the keeper was terrible. I thought the keeper was terrible for it.
Yeah.
I thought the keeper was terrible. This is the irony of this game. The irony of this game is, I thought their keeper was poor. I thought he was terrible for that goal. And yet he's left the pitch at the end, the hero. And Robles leaves the pitch, to beat man, because he misses the penalty. And that's so unfair. That's a real football story for you. He's come off, Adrian, and but I thought he was poor, especially poor for that free kick. I thought it was very savable. I mean,
absolutely.
That's positioning. That's again, you talk about basics. That's a goalkeeping basic.
Yeah, and he was not exact. I don't think he was 100% watching.
No, he wasn't.
Whenever it was kicked, so he got a late jump and he wasn't positioned well, and it made Morales look really, really good. Then
fair play to Morales. I mean, just fair play for Morales. He spotted the gap. I mean, that takes some doing as well. He spotted the gap and put it in that gap. So there's not, fair play to him for doing that.
Yeah.
That's the irony of the whole thing. But
sure.
just before, I just want to touch on something as well. Just before we move away from the substitutions, Ross Barkley was taken off, and he had pretty much a stinker. He had a very, very poor game, and I think you can't just say it was because we went down to 10 minutes. One of the reasons we picked up was because Ross had just been a passenger. Basically, everything he tried just didn't come off. He looked so off the game. It was he looked so everything he tried to do just didn't work. Right. The confidence is gone in there. Nothing was sticking. It was just coming. It was coming back all the time, and he was just losing possession. And you don't mind him losing possession in certain places, but he was losing it in places where allowed West Ham to get on the turn. And and wasn't great, and so I think you've got to look at that as well. But I mean, that has led a lot of fans to suggest, oh, sell him, he's poor, he's not coming on. I
Yep.
just think that's ridiculous. I just think
Send
he's
him across
21.
park. Get what you can for him.
Yeah, he's 21. He's still got a lot of mistakes to make in his career before he gets that consistency. And let's
Yeah.
let's give the kid a break. I mean, last month's scapegoat was Lukaku. Oh, he's 28 million plays, nothing. He's poor. He's rubbish. He doesn't do anything. And now suddenly, there's been a slight change of style, and suddenly Lukaku's reaping all the rewards, which we've mentioned all season.
Yeah. So this
Lukaku,
month it's Barkley. Next month it'll be Morales because his head's gone.
Yeah, exactly. That's that. Day follows night, isn't it? It's there's always going to be one, or Leon Osman. The kid has played, come back from an injury. He has played in different positions. He's yet to sort of be given a run in one position where he wants to be. It's just not clicking for him. It is just not clicking for him. But you go back to the QPR game, he scores that wonder goal. He got goal of the month over here for that. He has a great performance, and then the next game he's moved out of that position. And this is the thing he's had all season. I mean, just give the kid a break. Maybe he does need a couple of games on the bench like Lukaku did, and maybe it'll all snap back for him. But when you hear people saying, oh, he bottles tackles and you don't ever. He needs to learn the other side of the game. We've said this before. He needs to learn the dirty side of the game, the other side of the game, the running back, the chasing, the getting people's faces. He's like a playground player. He just wants to do all the good bits, but he'll realise soon enough that he has to do the other bits of it. And listen, when people say cash in for him 40 million, who really out there is going to give 40 million for Ross Barkley at the moment? Not really anyone is going to look at him and go, right. Man City, they're not going to pay 40 million. They've just paid 30 million for, Bonnie. They can't go out and spend money like that with, financial fair play. And I don't think Chelsea would be really that bothered. Mourinho's too smart. He's not stupid enough to do that.
No, he's got 3 or 4 people in that position that are
exactly, and he's got
and proven.
And they've got they've got a young kid coming through as well who plays very much like Barkley does. So I don't, just give the kid a break. And again, people say, well, he bottles out the tackles. Well, this is a kid who's had double leg break. Yeah, he's got a knee injury in the summer. I mean, that might have come from, I don't know. Maybe he do you know what? There's been a lot of really, really top players don't like going in for tackles because they always seem to come off worse. If his confidence levels are low, that's something he's got to build up to. So. Sure. People just need to get off his back, and it's so short term to say, well, we're playing setup. I was talking to someone on Twitter who actually said to me, sell him and get players now in for him. And I was like, there's like 10 days. There's like 10 days or something left of the transfer window, or 2 weeks left of the transfer window. How would you sell him for 40 million and buy 4 players? And who would these 4 players be? And how would you get those 4 players settled into the team? Everton have been rubbish this season, and it's nothing to do with Ross Barkley.
Right.
They've just been rubbish. Stop thinking short term. Think about ambition.
Right.
I'd rather have Ross Barkley, John Stones, Seamus Coleman, James McCarthy. Try and keep hold of all these players and see what could happen. Anyone who's like a young player or new to Everton, go and look at the players that Everton had from 1995 to 2000. Go and look, or even 1995 to 1998. Go and look at those 3 years or 4 years, right? And look at some of the talent Everton had around that time. They had Kanchelskis, Ferguson, Barmby, Speed, Hutchinson, John Collins. They had all these top players. More Limpar, Rideout, all these really good players, but they all followed. Like, one to get sold and then the next one to come in, and you look at them and you think, if we could have got all them players into one team, and you're only talking over the space of 3 or 4 years, if we could have got all them players into one team, we would have had some sides. And yet we were scrapping around the bottom half of the table most of the time, or certainly only for a couple of years we were in the top half of the and that's the thing. When you've got a core of players, you've got to keep them together. You've got to keep them together and
sure.
hope.
Yeah, I mean, no different than look what happened in the '80s whenever there was the European ban, and the core of players that were there that won the league, and they all went their separate ways, and that's what caused the downcline or the decline for the club at that moment. And whenever we had these young players together, to keep them together and build upon them and add pieces, add a one player here, add a player there to this solid core that you've got, and we just need to keep and develop that solid core.
Definitely, that's it. You've got to try and get all these players together and go from there. So let's just get off his back. But as you say, we made the 2 subs, and from there we were so much brighter. As you mentioned, we
equalized, and then Morales looked like a Tasmanian devil there, inside and outside of the box, spinning, turning, twisting, finding Lukaku to slot one through the keeper's legs. So,
yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic play from Morales. I mean, he was in inspired form when he come on. He was playing absolutely brilliantly, and that goal was fantastic. And just before that, Lukaku just had a chance, and he sort of went with it with the wrong foot and completely missed it. But we were absolutely superb, once those two. Once we started going a little bit again, we were getting right up to Lukaku, and he was holding the ball and bringing players into it, and Morales was backing him up, and we looked a lot more solid behind him, even though we only had the 10 men, and we were playing some really, really good football.
Yeah, and putting West Ham to the sword, definitely.
And it was so annoying that all they did was bring a sub on and corner into the box, knock down, and they get the equaliser. And we worked so hard for everything we got, yet they such a nothing goal, really, really nothing goal. And that's the most annoying part of it, is how easy that they scored that goal. But we had another chance as well. I mean, Lukaku did fantastically well on that run. And you expect him to hit the target there, and he's just pulled it wide with a couple of minutes to go, which would have been the match winner. And I don't know, sometimes you just think that you've done so well, but maybe it's just not meant to be.
Yep. Finishes 2-2, go to extra time, and nothing other than just a couple of half chances really in extra time. A save by Robles, if I remember, that was pretty decent, but nobody is able to get the decisive goal in extra time. So it's penalties, and we all love penalties.
Yeah.
It's a horrible way to decide a match if you lose.
Yeah, I think before we talk about the penalties, because I want to talk about something positive before I talk about something negative. I thought Robles was outstanding for this game. I thought he was absolutely outstanding, and he was obviously one of the reasons that we did get to penalties, because we talked about the early save from the mistake from John Stones, and all through the game he was magnificent. He was making saves. He was coming out and claiming the ball. I likened it to his bar mitzvah. He became a man, and there was one instance where the ball came over, and he punched it, and he cleared out Andy Carroll and John Stones. He was having it, and that was the end of it. Nothing was gonna nothing was going to stop him from getting that ball, and he made sure. And I just thought he was absolutely magnificent on the night, making save after save, top draw saves. And I think that performance will turn a lot of heads and say, do you know what, maybe this kid can become the number one, because we've said it for a while, about Tim Howard's performance, and a lot of people out there that when you say Tim Howard, that they counter it by saying, well, Joel, and fair enough. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of them, but one thing I think we've always said is you've got to give someone a chance in any position to play a game and see and play a run of games and see what happens. And I just felt against Man City, he looked a lot more confident. There was a lot more confidence in him from the fans and from the players around him. I think that was a big help. And making that early save against West Ham, really, you can go back to the first game against West Ham when he made that save just after they'd scored their goal. It was a big save, a big turning point on the night. And since then, his confidence has grown and grown. And I just thought he was outstanding in this game. And I think a lot of people now are saying, well, you know what? Maybe we don't need to spend money on a new goalkeeper. Maybe we've got the new goalkeeper. I mean, the proof will be in the next couple of games. I believe Howard could be back for the Crystal Palace game, which is obviously 2 weeks' time. So this may be Joel's last sort of chance to prove that he can be the number one. Maybe Martinez has got a decision now, rather than going out and finding a goalkeeper now. Maybe he'll think, well, maybe I've got the goalkeeper at least till the end of the season that can be the number one, who can push Tim Howard. That's a big decision for him, because David Marshall was wanted, but he's got an injury, so that looks like that's not going to happen now. So I just thought he was magnificent on the night. Unfortunately, he wasn't particularly good on the penalties.
Once the 120 minutes were done, so was he, kind of. I don't know if it was just exhaustion or what it was, but he was moving way too early on the penalties. It was just not coming off like
we're in
you'd hoped.
We're in an era now where it looks like, anyway, certainly it looks like in the Premier League that we've had idiots in this country telling us for years, and I'm talking top people in football like Alan Shearer, that say penalty shootouts are a lottery. That's a nonsense. That's an absolute nonsense. They say that because we get beat. It's a nonsense. There's a reason why English teams or England get beat in penalty shootouts, because they don't practice. Penalties are a skill. It's a skill to save them. It's a skill to score them. A lot of it is muscle memory, as much as taking a good free kick or a good corner or anything like that. And we've seen so many really high-scoring penalty shootouts in this country in the last couple of years, simply because people are just getting so much better at taking them. But I don't think, people probably think I'm being very critical here of Joel, but I don't think saving penalties is one of his better things, because every penalty he just dived, as you just mentioned. He bounced off his line, and I think as soon as you bounce off your line, you've unbalanced yourself. Yeah. You've unbalanced yourself, because you've already made a forward motion. You've got to. I think in a penalty, if you're gonna do that, you've got to almost jump forward and jump to the way you're going, almost like as the kick is taken. But what he was doing was he was jumping forward and just leaning. It almost seemed like slow motion, and the players were just rolling it in the other corner. And it was like every time he took a penalty. And you look at all the penalties, they were really good penalties. And you look at Naismith's, and it wasn't even a bad penalty. It was just that the goalie waited for him and picked got the side right, and just managed to get his hand up and saved it. Yeah. Roble, the one he missed, I'm not gonna. He's a goalkeeper. It should have been an outfielder, because obviously we're down to 10 men. He had to take it, and he's just took a penalty like he'd take a goal kick. He's just tried to put his foot through it, and an inch lower, and it's rattled the bar. It's going to rattle the bar and go in. So he's on foot. I'm not gonna give him grief, but even the last one, the opposition goalie has psyched him out a little bit. He's just, I don't know whether taking the gloves off had anything to do with it, but again, he's he probably watched all the penalties, and has waited again for him to do something, and just and has just rolled in the other corner, because Joel dived in the same place every time, and for some reason Stuart Downham put it in the place that he dived every single time.
Right.
So it was just annoying from that point of view. It was just. But not gonna I'm not criticizing. I'm critiquing him simply for the fact that that's what we're here to do.
That's what we do. Yeah.
But I thought.
But it's penalties. It's not a typical part of a league match. It's just.
No, I mean, listen. It's just a thing, isn't it? That's obviously the way he has been brought up to maybe save penalties, more almost like a lottery. But it's one of them things. But I thought he was magnificent on the night, and as I say, it's just one performance. But I would say so far, you look at his performances so far while he's been in the team, and you would say the positives outweigh the negatives. And as
they're getting better. They're improving.
So
it's not stagnant. It's not regressing. There has been a noticeable improvement in his distribution and his commanding of the 6-yard box.
Yeah, exactly. So
stopping shots.
It's getting better, and that's the positive thing. It's getting better, and it's gonna hopefully, against West Brom he's really, really quiet and doesn't have much to do. But we'll wait and see. But I thought, I think he's getting better and better. He's getting the confidence. He'll go into the game against West Brom and he'll have all the crowd behind him, because they'll see how well he did against West Ham, and how he wasn't intimidated by the likes of Carroll and the crosses and stuff like that. He did come for a lot of it. Took a lot of catches in the area as well. And against West Brom, it'll be similar. They'll try and play a similar way. So, so that's good. And we're not conceding. I don't want to have a go at Tim Howard, but what we haven't seen is too many goals where you're like, oh, we've conceded, and I'm screaming at the goalkeeper.
It's more screaming at the defenders.
Yeah, more screaming at the defenders.
Yeah.
I'll just make one more comment about this game, and it's about the other sub who come on. I thought Oviedo was fantastic when he came on, and he was slightly overshadowed because Morales had such a good game. But I thought he was fantastic, and he gave the side a bit of balance, because we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago when he played left back, and he almost had no one in front of him, because he doesn't really, at times it feels like he doesn't need anyone in front of him, because he's fast and he puts himself about, and it's almost like he's playing two positions, and it was almost like that on Tuesday night. He almost seems like at times that he can play a couple of positions at once, because he can get about the pitch so well. So I'm just wondering whether him playing left midfield could give us the balance that we've been crying out for this season. Him playing on the left and Morales playing on the right, I think that could work. I think that's the kind of balance that the team's been lacking. Because I think he can, I think he can defend. He can go forward. He can get crosses in. He's not afraid to put his foot in as well. And this is a kid who's been out for a year with a really bad broken leg, and you don't not seen any fear out of him at all. He wants to get stuck in. He wants to prove that he's fully fit and he's up for it. So if he is fit now, fully fit, I really think that he could go on the left midfield and make a major difference to the balance of this side, which is something we've been talking about all season. And maybe by playing left midfield, we'll get a little bit more out of Baines as well.
Yep. How did our third sub on the night go?
Well, to be honest, he tried to make a third sub quite late on. I think he tried to bring Kone on, possibly for one of the defenders, because we probably will have looked at it and thought, right, we know that penalty-wise, it's going to get to the keeper one early, and we're going to have to go round again. So he probably thought, well, rather than I don't know, any one of the defenders taking a penalty, even though all our pens were really, really good,
except for Robles, yeah.
But you just think getting forward. But I still don't think Kone
for for Robles and had Jags be the keeper.
Jags in goal, yeah. But
Ah,
I still don't think that. I don't think
that would have been
Coney's still
awesome.
fully fit. And I still think Lukaku's in such form that you wouldn't have took Lukaku off for him. So, and it was could you have really put another forward on there with us only having 10 men? Probably not. So he balanced. It was a balancing act, and it only failed on just about. And when you're at an away ground and you're down to 10 men, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we made it feel like it was a home game. The fans were absolutely amazing. 3,500 Evertonians in London on a Tuesday night when you can't get a train back to Liverpool. That says everything you need to know about our fans.
Yep. McGeady got ejected from the game. We got ejected from the cup. Some people mentioning, oh, it's good. Now we can focus on the league or focus on Europa League. It's never good getting knocked out of a competition. Yeah.
No, and apparently that's the first time it's ever happened where we've been knocked out of the first rounds of both cups in the same year.
Yeah,
apparently.
never been knocked out in the first round that we participate in.
That's a record.
More firsts. We don't need to be setting firsts like these firsts. I would like to stop these negative firsts.
Yeah.
I don't like being at the bottom of the form guide. I don't like being 3 points clear of the relegation zone. And six pointers against West Brom in January are not fun either. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Coolio. Yeah, someone sent me a message on Twitter going, you're just in the postage stamp boxes and nothing else.
I had whenever I start the show, I click on the Folletonians icon to where it's displayed while I do the intro, and I forgot to click off of it.
Oh, okay, it's alright.
It is alright, darn it. It's gonna be fine. You know why? Because can't fix it.
Yeah, and it's
just move forward. Just move forward.
If anyone is watching us live, please feel free to send us in some questions. Thank you.
All right,
right.
Ready?
Let's get on with it. Yeah.
Let's do this.
Do this thing.
All right, we're back on Folletonians, brought to you by Abscess Services Limited. And like I mentioned previous, 6-pointer against West Brom at home in January. They're 2 points behind us. At least all the other results this week have gone our way, Ped, right? All the people that all the people that we need to lose have lost.
Isn't it horrible when I was sitting there, yesterday.
Yeah.
Looking at the results, and it's how depressing is that? Oh.
Yeah. I mean, even today, whole loss.
Looking at it and going, oh, I hope they lose, and you're thinking, wanting Burnley to lose? Oh my God, you know what I mean? Wanting Burnley to, or whatever, wanting Burnley and Palace to draw.
And Leicester to lose, and we're wanting Hull to lose, and we're wanting Villa to lose, and there's just
horrendous, isn't it? It's horrendous. It's absolutely horrendous. I was watching Man City and Arsenal and thinking, it doesn't really matter, this game to us. It
has no consequences on us, none.
Yeah,
absolutely
nothing. It's horrible.
Whereas before, you'd think, you know what, a draw would be good. That way they don't pick up no one gets maximum points, and then our match tomorrow, 3 points, and we'd gain 2 points on both of them. But whenever they're sitting on 39 and 38 and 46, and we have 22, it doesn't really matter at all. I saw we have 17 matches left, right? We're sitting on 22 points. 17 matches, we can get 51 points.
We can still beat last year's total.
By 1, if we have a 100% record. Will we do it, Pet?
No. No, but listen. We're in this position because we
73 points this year could finish third.
Listen, we've gone on mad runs in second half of the season. In 2009, we were in a similar position, and we ended up finishing 5th because we just went on a brilliant run at the end of the season. I don't expect us to do that this season, but listen, there's plenty of points. It mightn't look great at the moment. You know, we're playing West Brom and then we're playing Crystal Palace in the next couple of weeks. Palace have been fantastic over the last couple of weeks, but you know, West Brom, they won last week. Tony Pulis just come in. It's going to be a very difficult game, but at home you'd expect to win, beat West Brom no matter where they are or who the manager is. And if we were to win, we'd have 25 points. It'll take us above Crystal Palace. Then we'll go and play Crystal Palace. Again, if we were to win, that's the only way. That's all you can do is look at each game and go win, win, win. And you know, look, listen, we've still got Leicester at home. We've still got QPR away. We've still got Burnley at home. We've still got Sunderland at home. We've got Villa away. We've got Newcastle at home. Stoke away. You know, we've still got
a lot of opportunities to drop points.
We've still got exactly, and we've still got Manchester United to come to us, Tottenham to come to us, Liverpool to come to us. You know, Swansea away. You know, without Boney, might be a completely different team. There's still a lot of points, and at the moment it doesn't look great because, you know, we are only 3 points off the bottom 3. We've just got to start putting a few wins together, get the confidence going. Like, you know, we've just drawn basically 3 games in a row. Got to take a lot of heart from that game. We play obviously tomorrow night, then we don't have a game for the weekend after, obviously because of the FA Cup. So hopefully get 3 points tomorrow. Chance to regroup. It would look a lot better if we could win. Everything would look a lot better. People have smile on their faces, and all you can do is get that first win and go from then. You know,
yeah, it's hard. It's just hard that we had such a positive result against Man City, just to have the FA Cup replay and have that happen the way it did.
It did, but I still
and not be able to build upon that result against City.
No, but I still think in the West Ham result was still a positive. It just had a negative outcome, but it was still a positive result. The way the players played, I still thought was really positive. When we went down to 10 men, I mean, the first hour I thought was a little bit poor, but once there was an intensity and there was something to fight for, and that's a little bit sad in itself. But there is, you know, you've got to have something to fight for, and I think everyone's got to turn up tomorrow with this attitude that Monday night, you know, there has got to be the fans, the players have all got to be on the same wavelength, and the players have got to go out from the first minute and put it in there, because West Brom are going to come, set up, stifle us and try and hit us on the break. You know, this is Tony Pulis. This is the manager who came to Goodison last year after all those games and when we were flying and beat us with Crystal Palace. Yep. So, you know, he's not stupid. He knows how to set a team up against us. And they're fighting for their lives as well, but we've got to beat at the moment, you know, you look at Sky upon our advert out for the relegation running, and we're on it. And little things like that, and you think, but we're on it for a reason, because we're only 3 points above. And, you know, if West Brom were to beat us, they go above us. You know, that's the way you got to think about it. It is only January, but for me, I don't look at it like that. I look at it like, if we want to finish anywhere near the top 7 and a possibility of being in the Europa League again next season, we've got to start we've got to put a run together, and that run needs to start now. You know, that I'm trying to look at it from that point of view, because look, I don't want to look at it and go, well, finish 12th and get to win the Europa League. I mean, the chances of winning the Europa League are, you know,
getting smaller and smaller every day.
Are narrow. Let's be honest, they're narrow.
Yeah.
You know, because. And still, I don't want to go all the way to the. You know, it'd be fantastic to get all the way to the final, but I don't want to get all the way to the final and be like, well, it's all right because we'll win that and finish whatever. I want us to push on, be positive, and have the run, have the run coincide. Good form in the league, good form in the Europa League. You know, and get. That's the only way to look at it. So yeah, it'll be difficult tomorrow. West Brom will come. They'll set up. They'll try and stifle us. They've got pace on the break. The irony is they'll probably play try and play off Anachibi. You know, they've got Berahino's in decent form as well. He's a goal scorer. He's got something a little bit different for them. He's trying to put himself in the shop window as well. I think they've got the guy up front, Adhai, I think his name is, decent player as well. They'll try and play off him. But you know, they're below us in the table, and they're still not a good side really, and we've got to prove that. You know, got to prove that at Goodison Park. It's all about us. If we come out and play anything like we did last week against Man City, any way we did, for the last 20 minutes, and certainly extra time at West Ham, then we'll beat them. We'll beat them. But we've got to go out there with that way of being able to go and win a game.
Yeah, you're trying to.
It's setting up. You've got to set up in a certain way.
Sure.
But you're not going to concede stupid goals, and you're going to score goals, and that's what it's all about. Be organised and give yourself a chance.
Well, you mentioned you were trying to think of something positive to say about McGeady, and the fact that he has picked up a red card. He is going to be out for this match, and maybe we will see Oviedo come in on that left and push Morales out to the right, and just see how that works. So
possibly so. I think I would give it a little bit more balance.
Yeah. So no McGeady might help. I don't know. It's hard to be negative on a player, but whenever the proof is in the results, it's just not working yet.
No, I don't know. I don't know. Some people like him, some people don't like him. I mean, at the end of the day,
I hear you. It's people like him. I don't know many people that do like him. It seems to be that he is the scapegoat on Twitter quite a bit.
But the other thing about it is he's a winger, and what he's supposed to do is provide chances and provide assists. And you look at these games and you think, how many assists has he provided this season? People say, well, he tracks back and works hard, tracking back and things. Yeah, but he's a winger. That's his job. His job is to get his assists, and he seems to always fail at the final pass. So it's going to have to be something a little bit different tomorrow than But Morales. Let's be honest, Morales is who everyone wants in the team anyway. So.
Yeah, definitely. Without a doubt, Morales is turning into the playmaker, the spark, and hopefully it's not just a off the bench type of situation to where he gives the team a lift. Hopefully he can do that from the start and get us going in that right direction, because we've said it. This is a 6-pointer. We need all 3 of these points. We need to keep West Brom from getting anything out of this match.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's 3 points. That's what's required. No matter how, it's got to be a 3 points. Like we did against QPR the last time we won on a Monday night. Last time we won, it's just got to be 3 points. The performance has got to be solid. It's got to be compact, and we've got to play to the players' strengths like Morales and like Lukaku, and nothing less than 3 points will do.
Absolutely. Should we move on to the saga that is Samuel Etoo?
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago I mentioned Samuel Etoo. I thought I did think he was going to leave the club, and it looks like he's pretty close now. It looked like he'd said his goodbyes to the players at Finch Farm Saturday. There's certainly some pictures on Instagram from some of the younger players.
If you can read French.
Oh well. Some of us know how to translate, have translating apps. David
Thanks,
Heenan,
Google. You made it so I don't have to be smart.
David Hennon and Francisco Jr. both basically said, this is the last time we're going to see this guy. So it looks like he's going. I don't know. Whatever's happened. And Etoo probably wants to go because he wants more playing time. Martinez seems very reluctant to selling the press to lose him. I'm not sure whether that's the case behind closed doors, but certainly in the press, Martinez seems very reluctant to lose him. But right. Samuel Etoo wants to play football matches, and fair enough. He wants to go back, wants to go to Italy, somewhere where he's very comfortable, somewhere where his family have been based, and get on. And looks like he's had assurances from Fiorentina that he'll be a big part from Sampdoria. Sorry, that he'll be that he'll be a big part of their setup, with possibilities for
for
something have
coaching
to.
instructions and stuff.
I
Yeah.
don't even think it's going to be about coaching. I think it's more going to be like part of like the structure of like a yeah. So yeah. So good luck to him. You know, I thought he's added something to the club, and just having someone like Samuel Etoo being associated with Everton's fantastic. But listen, if it's not working for all parties, then there's no point continuing with it. And hopefully, if he when he moves on, then that will open a space and an opportunity for someone else. Who that someone else is, not 100% sure. Yeah,
Right.
Yannisai's been mentioned.
I don't
As a
know.
possible.
Flanny just gave him a big hug. Maybe he was giving him a hug goodbye.
Possibly so, but it'll be a loan for the rest of the season if it comes
Right.
off. And you know, he's got people like Morales and Lukaku around him. I know Morales wasn't his biggest fan in the summer when he said when basically he chose Belgium and got a World Cup space, but I'm sure a few weeks in Brazil sorted it all out. So he's gonna, if he comes, he'd have recognisable people he'd know already, and he wouldn't have to move home or that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So he'd be able to settle right in. And we have
The
spoken
more
about all
Belgiums,
season.
the better.
Yeah, and we spoke about all season the need for that outlet, that bit of pace, that someone like Delafeu that we had last season that can change games.
Sure.
We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens. But you know, Samuel Etoo, when he played in the position that is his position, certainly against Burnley and against Krasnodar away, we've seen something out of him. And just when he's come on the pitch, just having Samuel Etoo play for you has been something a little bit different. So whatever happens,
we've mentioned the youth of the squad, the lack of senior leadership, and we talked about Samuel Etoo coming in and being a mentor for Lukaku and really helping guide and develop a player like Lukaku. And why the change? Why has this not worked? Is it just behind closed doors changing room stuff that we just will not know about, or
we'll never know, will we? We'll never know exactly. You know, number one, he obviously wants to play, but
sure.
It looks like but he must have known the situation when he come in that he wasn't going to play. But whether it's because when he has played, he hasn't played in his position, or when he's come off the bench, he hasn't played in his position. Maybe that's something to do with it. When he comes onto the pitch, he plays. He doesn't. You know, it was. Maybe at first he was playing up front, and then he was playing in this number 10, and now he seems to come on an even deeper role. And I don't know. It's just a case of it just hasn't worked out. I mean, it's very much in tune with Everton's season. It just hasn't worked out. The season hasn't worked out. So maybe having the luxury of a Samuel Etoo, we just can't have that anymore. So I don't know. As you mentioned, he's a player that has a lot of influence and a lot of pull, and maybe that's not what you necessarily need when things are going wrong. Maybe he's got the wrong kind of pull and the wrong kind of influence.
Any thought or ideas into just the fact that Everton is in a bad way, and he's just lost the taste for playing for a club that is not doing well?
Possibly so. He's never been in this position before, has he? He's never really played since he left Mallorca. I don't think he's ever been in this kind of position. I mean,
right.
And when he played for Angie, it wasn't exactly, it wasn't exactly the greatest time. But I'm sure there was 300,000 reasons why he could cope with that.
Sure.
But for whatever reason, it's just not necessarily come off the way we all wanted to. But that's football, isn't it? Some things happen, some things don't. You know, you sometimes you buy players who are terrible at first, and then grow into the club, and sometimes it works the other way. And if you get a player who's 34, 35, they're going to want to be playing, and if they're not playing, they're going to have issues. And if everything around them's not as they want it, then they'll find a reason to move on to somewhere where they're going to feel more at home. So it is what it is. I'm not going to start criticising the guy. I'm not going to criticise Everton. It's just, he's done a lot of bright things, and maybe his influence his influence will be a lot long lasting than his actual time at the club.
I mean, if it was only for the photo shoot in a Christmas jumper, then it is nice knowing Eto'o.
Yeah, and Burnley, and getting us that goal at Krasnodar late on as well.
Yep.
And just being Samuel Etoo. The only way it would be more perfect is if he had the number 9 shirt. I'd love to have had Samuel Etoo. Sounds stupid, and I've spoken about this before, but if Samuel Etoo wore the number 9 shirt for Everton, I would have got that shirt, and I would have got it signed just for the fact that Samuel Etoo played for Everton in the number 9 shirt.
Yep.
As silly as that sounds.
Yeah, it's kind of a disgrace that Kone is wearing it, but that's just something that we talked about a while ago.
Yeah.
Kevin Morales news comes out in the papers that he'll address his situation with Everton this summer. I guess that kind of puts to bed for this transfer window that he's going to be with the club at least through the end of the year. But you've got to think that he's got ambitions and desire to play in Champions League at a place other than Olympiacos, and see that and get paid.
Yeah, listen. This is not a shock. This is not really new news. It's just more clear cut because it's come out of his mouth. I mean, we knew early on in the season that Evan had come out and said, there's no problem with Kevin Morales' contract and we'll sort it out in the summer. They used very clever words. They said, we'll hope to sort Kevin Morales' contract out in the summer. It was very, the way they put it. It was all very positive, and it was almost like saying, "Don't worry about his contract. We'll get it sorted in the summer." And it was all positive, and it made it sound like we'll get it done in the summer. And people jumped on that and thought, he signed a new contract in the summer. But really, they weren't saying that. They were just being very clever with the words they used. They were being, we hope to get him tied.
I think it was almost like a not really a warning, but a putting off to other clubs. Just say, hey, he's under contract. He's settled here for the rest of the year. We're not selling him. Don't even think about it until after the season's over. Then we'll figure out what he wants and what's best for him and the club. And
to be honest,
it's staying at Everton.
To be honest, it came out a little even more positive than that. It was almost like they were getting the story out first that nothing would happen in the summer, but they made it look like it was almost on Everton's terms that it wasn't going to happen in the summer. Now, not long after that story came out, there was a story in a Sunday newspaper here saying that basically Morales wanted Champions League football, and that was one of the reasons he was willing to stick around to the end of the summer to see if Everton could offer him Champions League football.
Right.
Very admirable of him. So he's clarified the position now and said, I'm going to sort my future out in the summer. He'll have a year left in the summer. And he wants Champions League football. And really, you can't, in a way, argue with that situation. He's 27, 28. This will be his last real big contract.
It's the Arteta situation.
But Arteta signed a contract, and so did Marouane Fellaini, and this is what annoys me slightly. Arteta signed a contract.
I bought a shirt. Then we sold it.
Fellaini signed a contract, and basically what that contract did for both of those players is it gave them a bump in wages, and it gave the club some security. And this is my only little disappointment with Morales. I think what Morales is doing, which is quite clever, is he's making himself more attractive to teams in the Champions League by saying, listen, next year in the summer you'll be able to get me for, let's say, 10 million because I'm in my final year of my contract. So a lot of maybe Champions League clubs who maybe wouldn't have took the chance on him,
right,
probably because of his injury record more than anything else, because it's horrendous.
It's
We'll
not
turn
good.
around and I'll go, you know what? He's worth a gamble for
Yeah, and
10 million.
we still have to play Liverpool, and he tends to get injured in matches against Liverpool.
He's got a really poor
Touch wood.
injury record. He seems to come back from injuries, take him a few games to get ready, have a really good run of like 10 games, and then get injured again.
Yeah,
But listen, these are the facts. He's probably looked at it, considered it, and gone, do you know what? I'm going to make sure I go into that last year. I'll make the decision known. That summer before, Everton will probably want to sell me. I'll go to somewhere like, let's say, one of the Spanish clubs who get into the Champions League, because a Valencia, an Atletico Madrid, someone like that. Maybe
right.
one of the German sides. You look at the German sides. Anything below Bayern Munich. I mean, there's not going to be any Dortmund in the Champions League next season, because they're struggling like
Yeah,
ourselves.
so
You're
maybe
gonna
like a Schalke
a
or
Schalke or a Wolfsburg or someone like that. Germany wouldn't be too far, from Belgium, so he'll be on the continent. He'll be in a good league as well, where to hone his talents as well, to be in a good European league.
right.
So you'd look at it like that, but because he's probably thinking to himself, well, if I sign a contract now, none of the big teams are going to come in for me. I mean, maybe Arteta and Fellaini, they thought one of the big boys will come in for me because I'm flying, and that's how it turned out to be.
Sure.
But maybe Moraes doubts that a Champions League team will come in for him unless he is around that 10 million mark, which is what he would be. I mean, Everton could probably maybe say no. We're prepared to wait till he's out of contract, unless someone gives us what we want for him. I don't know. I just
It's
think
a hard situation that they're gonna get into very quickly.
yeah, I would have liked him. I would like him to sign a contract now,
Right.
and
'Cause
still say to the club. I mean, Suarez did the same thing last year. He
sure.
signed a contract, but he knew what he was worth. He knew that he was one of the best players in the world, so the teams were going to pay it anyway. Morales is not a player anywhere near that level, so he's probably thinking, right, if I keep myself around the 10 million mark, Everton still make money on me, and I'll go to somewhere. I mean, I think Spain probably. I think is his wife Spanish or something like that. So,
I believe so, yeah.
you always see pictures of him in Spain and stuff. So going to Spain probably be quite attractive to him. But we'll wait and see. I really don't see him staying at the club. So if anyone's got any sort of feelings that he is going to stay at the club, I'd probably get rid of them now. I'd save yourself a lot of heartache. Listen, he might turn around and stay. He might do that and say, you know what? It just doesn't feel like it at the moment, does it? It doesn't really look like he's going to stay at Everton. And you know what? He's a player that went to Greece, got in the Champions League, scored a lot of goals, got him to move to the Premier League, and now wants to take the next step up. So you can understand that. You can understand that as a footballer. Is
there player of the month?
It's a short career. You get a short shelf life. You've got to, when you're hot, you've got to make the most of it. And he might just want to go and test himself out somewhere else now. It's up to us if we get that money for him, that we have targets already identified that we can go and spend that money on and get the next Morales. A lot of fans would probably say, yeah, Deulofeu. Deulofeu is the one you want, but I'm not too sure, whether he would be the man himself. But I'm sure Everton are aware of the situation and are very realistic about the situation. It's just hard as fans to let go of players that make your team
better.
Exactly. So we'll wait and see.
Any other club news care to mention?
No. We've got a couple of weeks till transfer deadline day. There's not really much going on. I'm sure things might happen if they need to happen. We'll wait and see. If Etoo goes, maybe one will come in. As I say, Januzaj might be that player. Might be a chance for someone like Conor McAleny to step up. Who knows? But there's not much happening elsewhere, so we'll wait and see.
All right. Match against West Brom, 6-pointer. Got to get a win. No match next week because FA Cup, and we're not in that anymore. Maybe we'll try and get some people together, do some sort of round table next week. But 3 points this week, it's got to happen, or else very nervy times ahead.
And it also, if Everton don't win tomorrow, then we've got 2 weeks of being like miserable, haven't we?
Well, we've got years of being miserable, Ped,
Yeah,
but we've got 2 weeks before we can watch Everton play again.
some more than others.
Yes. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Come on, you Blues. Let's go.
Awesome.
All right, man. I'm going to.
Let me just. Can I just very quickly say, where is it? Someone asked us a question, and I think I answered it. It was about Morales, but I didn't mention them by name because they didn't use the Q&A feature. But I can't remember who it was. It might have been someone on. I don't know. It came up on Google Plus, I think. Hang on. Let me just see who was. Oh, where is it gone? Oh, it's in the box.
Where'd it go?
Someone's. I don't know who it was, but thanks for asking the question. Use the Q&A feature next time, and then I can see who it is. Thank you. Right.
Say bye, Ped.
Bye, people.
Adios.